Welcome to this video. We are going to draw a cube using oil paint. So to start off, I'm mixing a little bit of Sansador or mineral spirits with some black paint. And I'm using that to kind of make a sketch or an outline of my square. So when I block this square in, I am going to pay close attention to my angles, and I'm going to draw a vertical line so that I can help map out the orientation of my square. The square is not perfect, but that's okay. The paint is going to help create an illusion of a really nice square, so don't worry if you don't get it perfect. I'm just eyeballing things and I'm adding changes as needed until it looks kind of good. I am going to draw this cube in grayscale. And what that means is I'm going to start out with black and white paint, and I'm going to gradually mix them till I get 5 different shades of gray. You can watch my video on painting in grayscale. I go a little bit more in depth on that. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
The threads inside are rolled together to create this lotus silk. The rhythmic motion of the looms weaving this material is hypnotic. And I'm told lotus silk is much more expensive than traditional silk. And the flowers as well. Beautiful pink.
To start off this cube, I am going to paint everything that is pure black. And what will be pure black will be the top half of the vertical plane and the bottom of the right vertical plane, as well as the upper right hand corner. And there's a very, very thin occlusion shadow along the bottom edge of the square, kind of where my index finger is pointing. That is called the left plane. So I'm going to paint that all black. If you're new to oil painting, you would just dip your brush in a little bit of medium. The medium that I'm going to use is linseed oil, and then you would mix it in with your paint. And you want to make sure your paint kind of runs a little bit like ink, so not too thick and not too runny. I'm so happy that you're happy. I'm so happy that you're happy. Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is our last stop in Myanmar before I head to Thailand, my final destination on this adventure. I was drawn here by the lack of tourism and the laid-back lifestyle of the local people and hill tribe villages.
Of course.
This tree is one of 3 trees planted in 1753 by 3 different brothers from 3 different kingdoms, 2 in China and 1 here in Chengdu.
Okay, so now we're going to fill in the rest of the square on the left plane using the second lightest or the second darkest shade of gray. So that's my darkest gray. I'm going to kind of start here on this left plane and fill it in. Once it's filled in, I'm going to blend it a little bit to kind of create this relationship between the colors. It's important when you try to create the illusion of a shape, you want to pay attention to the value of the colors, which is just how light or dark a color is, or the shade of the color, because it will help you kind of get a sense of the relationship between where light will often strike an object So for example, if you have a black square, and you put that black square in front of light and you want to paint it, even though the whole square is black, it will look different. The depth of the colors will look different depending on where the light can reach the surface of the square and where it cannot. I also have videos that go in depth on the relationship between light and form of an object, so please feel free to watch it. So the amount of light that will strike the object can be different depending on where a light source is placed. So it's important that the values in your painting kind of give support to what you see if you have a reference of a cube in front of you. The way that I'm painting this cube could look different depending on where the light source is. I'm just painting a cube from my mind or from a reference photo, but a cube can look different. They don't all have to look the same depending on where the light is. So I'm going to paint in the right side of the plane, and I'm going to soften those edges or kind of blend it a little bit. Those internal edges inside of the cube show where the tone of the cube will shift. They are different from the edges around the cube that will differentiate the cube from the background that we're going to paint later on. So the edges around the cube will be the sharpest edges because you want to have a distinct edge that shows you where the perimeters meet.
Which has been stripped already at the markets. I just bought it like that. That's awesome. And maybe a tablespoon of the filling. Just put it in the middle there. And I'm going to sprinkle some of this gorgeous ginger leaf here. So fragrant. I don't get to use that in Australia, so I get really excited. You know, bamboo all through Asia, ginger leaves. Very, very lucky to get it all fresh. Put that on top. I'm going to fold this over like that, and some more bamboo string. Very, very strong.
So now I'm going to color in the top of the plane. I'm going to use the same color for it. So I'm using the third or the middle mixed value from my grayscale
Have you ever had sticky rice?
oil paints.
It looks good.
And if you look down, eventually I'm going to paint in my cast shadow with this same shade of the middle mixed gray. And remember, as you're painting your square, you don't have to follow grayscale. You can do whatever color that makes your heart happy, and you can play around with it. It's your painting. It's your learning journey. So things don't have to be perfect, line by line. Do what makes you happy.
Uh-huh. You like the foods that they make?
Yeah. Next one, go buy my vacuum. I'm not take a penny from me. Patrick, give me a penny. I'm going to say, keep it. Don't give me no money. Larry provide.
Why you say that?
Don't think I got it when I come back.
So I'm going to color in or block in the rest of the cast shadow. And as I continue, I'm going to put some background and foreground color around the form or around my object, which is the square. For the foreground, which is the bottom of the object, I'm going to use the lightest gray that I have mixed. And for the background, which is the back behind the object, I'm going to go a step darker than the lightest gray that I have mixed. And in doing this, it helps me to be able to look at the relationship between the different values in my square.
High up in the mountains. I was intrigued to learn about
If you would like, you can put a little bit of white highlight around the edges of your square where the two planes meet, the right and the left plane. Or you can create really sharper edges by using the darkest tone on each plane. It's really up to you and what you want from your square.
I had the pleasure of meeting Aggie, the village shaman. Village shaman are held in high regard, both as village elders and as spiritual healers of the sick. With the help of my interpreter, I was able to get a little insight into the art way of life.
So, Aggie, the village was far from here. Why did you move here? And how long have you been here for? To be the village shaman, do you need to be taught this or are you born into it?
มันคือคนสองเป็นไม่ได้แต่เป็นเคยคนสองแล้วเด็กเคิร์ฟอยากเป็นโลกเป็นเคยขับที่เลยเด็กเคิร์ฟอยากเป็นคนสองคือคนสอง
So, Aggie, your teeth they look like, is that from this? Can you explain more? His village, and his mother would cook him a dish he could take with him that would last a long time. Now, the perfect thing to do is to dry or smoke some beef, and that can travel with this. But what his mother also did was put it in a dish that would be very, very good for him. And it's a very great dish, Aggie. Thanks for introducing me to this. So, Aggie's giving me some smoked beef, and I've boiled it for 1 hour, softened it. I've strained the water, but I've reserved the water. Don't throw the water away. And I've shredded the beef to nice thin strips like that. Very strong flavour, and it's flavoured my water. So I've got a pan on some charcoal there. You can use vegetable oil or peanut oil is fine as well. My goodness, I'm surrounded by chickens, free-range pig. They're huge. They've got little baby ones. They've got a little suckling pig. That'll be pretty tasty, won't they? Some garlic. 2 cloves of garlic chopped up. Saute that till all the aroma comes out. Some red shallots as well. Around 3 of those. Chopped up, thinly sliced. Now whilst that's sauteing and sweating out, if you ever go to a village doctor around here, if you've got a cold or a flu, the first things they'll give you is lemongrass, galangal and ginger. And all these ingredients is going to be in this dish. Now galangal is a superior cousin to the ginger. It's got more flavour, more spice, very good for you as well. Good for your digestive system. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to put a handful of Julienne ginger in. You like that, Aggie? Yeah, he likes it. Around 5 slices of galangal. Oh, it smells delicious. Great orange colour as well. So Aggie's told me that he never usually peels the ginger or the galangal. There's a lot of flavours around the skin as well. So I've left all the skin intact. I'm going to put some lemongrass in, sliced up. Now this dish is so interesting.
So I'm just adding some finishing touches, and that would complete our oil painted square. I hope this helps, and enjoy.